Welcome back to Intro to Functions. This is part 5 and we're going to be working on piecewise functions. I have here example 4 where we need to evaluate this 3-part piecewise function. And I just want to draw your attention to the intervals that are given. These are my input intervals. So remember how we were doing inequalities before and we were breaking up a number line into different pieces? Well, this is the same idea, but now we have to look at where our inputs will exist on a number line. So I'm just color coding these with yellow, green, and blue just so that you can see how they connect with the substitutions or inputs here. Now I'm going to look down here at my list of domain values substituted into the function. We're supposed to calculate the range values or the outputs, and we need to identify which rule of the 3, either the corresponding rule for the interval less than 0 would be 2x squared plus x minus 4. The corresponding rule for inputs between 0 and 2 would be 9x. And the corresponding rule for any values greater than 2 would be 1 minus x over 1 plus x. So let's start out with f of negative 3. Negative 3 would fall on the interval less than 0. So the rule we're going to use is 2x squared plus x minus 4. But remember, if our input is negative 3, we do a substitution of negative 3 wherever there was an x in the original rule. So that would give me 2 times the quantity negative 3 squared plus a negative 3 minus 4. And now it should be fairly simple to just simplify these down. Remember, a square says multiply whatever's in parentheses to itself that many times. So this is going to be 2 times 9 minus 3 minus 4, which simplifies to 18 minus 3 minus 4. So I'm going to get a final value for this function of 11. And again, my input was negative 3. So my rule had to correspond to the input interval where that rule exists. Now let's try 1. 1 is on the interval from 0 to 2. So the rule that corresponds to that is 9x. But wherever I have an x, I substitute my input. 9 times 1 is just 9. Now let's take a look at f of 2. 2 is my input, and I need to find the interval on which this exists. Now, some of you might be thinking it's the blue interval that I have highlighted here, x greater than 2. But remember, if it's greater than 2, it doesn't actually equal 2. So we still have to stay on this green interval here between 0 and 2. And so my rule, again, is 9x. Substituting 2 in for x, I will get 18 as my output or range value. Lastly, I have f of 5. 5 is my input, so looking at my intervals, 5 is greater than 2, so I will be using the third rule here, 1 minus x over 1 plus x. But remember, wherever there is an x, I substitute my input value. This simplifies to 1 minus 5 over 1 plus 5, and I can rewrite that as negative 4 over 6. But negative 4 over 6 simplifies to negative 2 over 3, which is my final value for my range.